Hi folks, hope you're okay today. We're looking at John Calvin's Alistair McGrath here, and we're going to be quick with this. On page 115 and page 116, 117 in this book, Alistair E. McGrath on the life of John Calvin, Servetus. Servetus was a heretic in the time of John Calvin who claimed that the Trinity wasn't biblical. And he was executed at Geneva, where John Calvin the Reformer was. And so scholars have blamed John Calvin for this. And atheists like Dan Barker have said John Calvin scholars who are pro-John Calvin today are doing rationalization, trying to excuse John Calvin for what he did. So what is the truth? What is the situation? Well, basically the argument goes by people like Dan Barker that John Calvin is a moral monster because he had Servetus burnt. Now, at Geneva, the fact is that John Calvin definitely, and the best source for this is if you go to Philip Chaff's History of the Church, just type in Google it, History of the Church PDF, you will find his works, and you can get Philip Chaff on the Reformation, and he's done an excellent piece on Servetus, and he gives all excellent sources, and you can go and check it out for yourself there. I highly recommend it. He is not he is just an honest historian, and he tells it as it is. So basically John Calvin didn't want Servetus burnt, but he did want Servetus killed by the sword for his heresy. John Calvin was involved in providing evidence, theological evidence against Servetus within the trial. So it's not fully true that John Calvin wasn't involved in the trial, as Alistair McGrath says. I think that's, as Dan Barker says, that's rationalization going on there, trying to rationalize John Calvin's behavior. But at the same time, I think Alistair McGrath is correct to say, and I do think atheists like Dan Barker need to realise that religion was political and social. So if there was a heretical belief or a belief different from the social norm, it would be seen as a revolution. And so that's why they had capital punishment. It was not, religion was not a private thing, it was a public thing. And if you turned your religion, changed your religion, or tried to get people to change it, it had social implications. So I'm not justifying that, but I'm just saying that's the historical context of Calvin. So I don't agree with what Calvin got involved in, but he certainly was not for burning Servetus. That's a fact. He did want him killed because of his heresy and the social implications that would have. And that would be in accord with the culture of his time, which I don't agree with, but I'm just saying that's the historical situation. So that's it really. It was a blot on John Calvin's character, but I think in terms of the historical context, and I'm not rationalising it, it was understandable in that time. But he definitely didn't want Servetus burnt. From our point of view, it's very difficult to get into the skin of that period of historical time. But if you do get in the skin of the historical time, then you understand. Also, I want to say that Servetus was a person who was a controversialist. He did go around causing trouble in Europe, and he was very unwise and foolish. And he went to Geneva when he shouldn't have gone to Geneva, and that's where his problem started. He hounded Calvin, writing to him when Calvin wrote some letters back, but eventually stopped writing to Servetus, but Servetus kept writing to him. And in the end, there was a great social upheaval in Geneva, and there was a political battle and control in the council, and Servetus, being arrested, was wrapped up in all this political stuff. And so that's where it comes really. I would say that it was a sad blot on Calvin, but I think Calvin was a great man. I love Calvin, I love his commentaries, I love the work that he's done. And so there's, that's the true historical situation. So it doesn't fully fit the atheist attack, it doesn't fully fit the Calvinist historiography. What I'm saying, what I'm giving you is the true historical situation. Okay, thank you for listening. Take care.